Why does gently stroking the back of your neck make you feel numb when hugging your partner? Why can an unintentional touch trigger a constant heartbeat? Perhaps you might say it's because of sexiness, but the truth is that the skin covering the entire body, about 2 square meters, is our largest sexual organ. It has been formed since the embryonic stage, with millions of tactile sensors waiting for the awakening of desire at any time. These tactile sensors have their own preferences. Some prefer light touch, some prefer compression, and some specialize in vibration. But what really brings us a pleasant feeling is the C-tactile fiber, which exists in the hairy skin of the whole body. With strict yet romantic requirements for touch, just like it is specially designed for love. He likes skin touch at a temperature of about 32 degrees Celsius and back and forth, frivolous. Movements at a speed of about 1 to 10 centimeters per second. Only by achieving these 2 points can one unleash the strongest pleasure and sensuality. Too fast or too slow can easily cause bleeding. So, how do these tactile pleasures that make our hearts race suddenly generate desire? In fact, your skin and brain have already built a pleasure bridge. And they do not report to the somatosensory cortex according to the usual route, but directly project to the brain area that processes emotions and rewards. As a result, this light and dense tactile sensation activates areas such as the pouring of fluids in the brain, transferring physical touches into emotional ripples that ignite surges of love and sparks of desire in the brain. You may be curious, even though the ears, neck, and back are far away from the real key areas, how can it become a sexy belt? At first, some scientists speculated that these areas were located in the somatosensory cortex of the brain, just adjacent to the representative area of the genital organs. So accidentally connecting them led to pornographic associations. But further research has found that this claim is not reliable. For example, the somatosensory area of the feet is close to the genital area, but for most people, touching the feet does not feel much. On the contrary, some areas with a high distribution of black tactile fibers, such as the forearm and neck, are very sensitive. This indicates that the real key lies in the distribution of C-tactile fibers, not relying on who is next to whom on the brain map. As long as the fibers are dense enough and the temperature and strength are in place, the whole person can soften in that area. Even better, gentle touch can also stimulate hormones such as oxytocin and endorphins, making you feel an indescribable sense of peace and joy. Oxytocin is often referred to as the love hormone, which makes you closer and more trusting of your partner, while endorphins are natural painkillers that give you a sense of pleasure and inspiration, making you feel like you're drifting to the heavens. Of course, such a hormonal feast is not just about individuals. Uninvited strangers will only bring goosebumps and make you feel embarrassed or disgusted. Only when you have a good impression or trust in the other person will the skin play a pleasant symphony of tacit understanding. This moderate skin contact can also soothe your nerves, slow down your heart rate, lower blood pressure, and make you more relaxed and healthy. In fact, as early as a newborn, the touch of the skin becomes the source of a sense of security. Within the golden hour after your birth, doctors will make you lie naked in your mother's arms. 0 distance. Your intimate contact not only stabilizes body temperature, but also soothes emotions and establishes a sense of security. After birth, this kind of embrace and touch is more effective. As long as you gently touch and pat the baby, their crying will miraculously calm down, and their heart rate will gradually stabilize. If there is a lack of such skin contact, babies will show obvious anxiety and unease, and even instinctively grab their clothes or body with their little hands, trying to comfort themselves. Psychologist Harlow once asked rhesus monkeys to choose between wire mothers and towel mothers, although only wire mothers can provide milk. Young monkeys prefer to stick to their soft towel mothers every day, and only rush to wire mothers to drink a few sips when they are extremely hungry. It can be seen that in the bloodline of our primates, the need for warm touch is far greater than pure physiological satisfaction, and skin hugging is more helpful for us to establish secure attachment as early as possible. In fact, research has indeed found that children who receive more skin-to-skin contact have healthier physical and psychological development. And if they lack this intimate touch, they are more likely to engage in sexual activity. Supremacy, difficult to self-soothe, and even higher levels of stress hormones. As we grow up, our need for skin touch has never decreased. If we lack hugs and caresses for a long time, our bodies and brains will cry out for help, like they are hungry, and that's just the skin. It will increase your stress, lower your mood, make you more prone to anxiety and depression, and decrease your satisfaction with intimate relationships. Psychologists point out that humans need a certain frequency of active touch to maintain mental health. If we cannot receive it, we will unconsciously seek alternatives, such as wrapping ourselves tightly with blankets, taking a hot bath, or petting pets to find solace in touch. Many times, people often mistake the need for intimate touch for a sexual impulse, thinking that what they crave is overnight passion. But in fact, all they need is a warm embrace. When you truly feel intimate touch, that hidden loneliness will be soothed. It can be said that the skin is the first bridge we use to connect with the world and others. It tells us from the beginning of our lives what it means to be loved and safe, and this will also accompany us. Girls guard the inner peace and sense of belonging. But different cultural attitudes towards skin and touch are vastly different. You may find it difficult to accept face-to-face greetings and kneeling down, as nodding and smiling are considered normal for us. In fact, anthropologists distinguish between contact culture and non-contact culture. But miraculously, whether it's the environment in Europe where we can embrace each other, or the more reserved society in Asia, whenever the intimacy of relationships increases, everyone spontaneously increases physical contact, holding hands shoulder to shoulder. It seems that as long as we move our hands and feet, our emotions become more stable. Just in different cultural environments, people have different opinions on which touches are friendly, which are offensive, and which are private. These cultural norms will subtly influence our comfort with skin contact and our perception of eroticism. For example, in conservative areas, even a gentle hand holding between lovers can trigger a strong heartbeat, as scarcity and taboos themselves amplify the stimulating significance of touch. On the contrary, in an environment where physical contact is commonplace, people may need more intimate and daring touch methods to evoke the same level of heart rate acceleration, which may also be the reason why European and American blockbusters are more unrestrained. In short, culture has painted a unique foundation on the skin, the largest sexual organ, which determines when and where we dare to expose our skin for comfort, and when and where we need to restrain our desires and hide them. But no matter how different cultures may be, the human desire and pleasurable response to touch have a universal neurobiological basis, deeply buried in our skin and brain, unchanged throughout history. Perhaps the skin is the river of love and desire flowing through each of us. It is sensitive yet resilient, silently guarding and resisting environmental stimuli on a daily basis, forming our first line of defense against collisions with the outside world. When needed, it can evoke a stormy sensory pleasure and break the last bridge connecting us with others. He draws boundaries between individuals and breaks them down with touch. With just one thought, he can connect independent individuals together, allowing us to experience the most primitive and wonderful connections between people.